Welcome to the latest edition of the LL Basketball Roundtable, brought to you by Student Transportation of America. We're headed toward the end of the regular season in the Lancaster Lemon League hoops. We're going to look forward to the LL playoffs to the extent that that's possible, which is it's a little more possible on one side than it is on the other, but we'll get to that in a minute. My name is Mike Gross, and I'll be hosting these proceedings. To my left is Jason Guarente, who covers boys basketball. To my right is Jeffrey Reinhardt, who covers the girls. And we were hoping to have brackets and really break down the matchups, but we can't do, especially on the boys side, we really can't do that. But we're going to, again, look ahead to the league playoffs, which start on Saturday. We're speaking to you on Wednesday, and really are the predominant theme of next week. So let's look at where we are with that. Jeffrey,
surely
heading in to Saturday.
3 of the 4 sections are done with the girls.
Yep.
Section 1, Lebanon is your champ. They successfully defend their title. They've won 17 games in a row.
They're really rolling.
And I didn't realize this. That's 16 section championships for Lebanon. They won 7 of the first 8 back in the 70s. A lot of success. I think that's the second most section championships.
That doesn't seem possible.
How about that? I mean, they had a drought where they didn't win for many years.
But even so, that doesn't seem possible.
So Lebanon's in. Manheim Township, second place, clinched. Blue Streaks are in. Section 2, not done. Ephrata has clinched a tie for the section title. Mounts can win it outright on Thursday night if they beat Elizabethtown at home. Manheim Central's clinched no worse than second. Barons play Warwick on Thursday. So if Central beats Warwick and if E-Town springs one against Ephrata and Central would tie, and then it would go to District 3 power rating probably for the seed. But Ephrata's in the driver's seat. If they win, they clinch. Section 3's done. Lancaster Catholic wins, undefeated. 7 section titles in a row, 27 overall. Tops in league history. They're in. Second place, Northern Lebanon. Vikings are in. They had a tough 2-point loss to LS on Tuesday night, which probably opened up some eyes. But the Vikings are in. Section 4 is done. Columbia wins. They defend their title. Pequea Valley gets the second place finish there. So brackets. The only games that are official on Saturday: Northern Lebanon at Lebanon, 2 p.m., and Manheim Township at Lancaster Catholic, which is a great matchup, at 6 p.m.
Yeah, that's pretty strong for the quarterfinal.
That's the juiciest probably of the quarterfinal games. So everything else will be wrapped up Thursday night. Stay tuned.
Jason, how are you going to make any sense of this? I'm looking forward to this effort when you're.
Good luck, buddy.
7 of the 8 teams have been decided.
All right.
Who's going to play who has not been decided.
Yeah, who's the number 1 and who's the number 2 in each section is very much up for grabs. Yeah.
What we know right now, Cedar Crest has won Section 1. Warwick has won Section 2. Manheim Central is the runner-up in Section 2. The other teams that are in, LS and Octorara in Section 3, Columbia and Mennonite in Section 4. It's still up for grabs who will win the sections or share the title and have the top seed by power rating. Right now, LS and Columbia are ahead. The only spot that's up for grabs is Section 1, which is between Hempfield and Penn Manor. Hempfield is up a game right now. They resumed their suspended game for when Devin Figueroa got hurt on Thursday. Penn Manor would have to win that game. They play Dallastown that same night.
Wow.
Would probably have to also win that game and finish ahead of Hempfield in the power rating to get the second spot.
Wow.
Otherwise, it will be Hempfield.
I have a couple questions for you, big guy.
I hope I can answer.
We thought that Figueroa was going to be done for the year. He's not.
We weren't sure.
Oh,
He was going to be reevaluated. They were hopeful, but the big thing was there just wasn't much season left. But he did come back and play.
He's playing.
Good for him.
And the other thing, just to make sure that people understand this, if 2 teams end a section race with the same record, they're formally considered co-champions.
Correct.
And we're figuring out via tiebreaker who gets the 1 and the 2 for this playoff purposes. And usually those teams, a lot of times they will have split head-to-head, blah, blah, blah. So it ends up being power ratings, which it's almost literally mathematically impossible for them to be tied in the power rankings.
It becomes a coin flip if they are tied in power
if that
rankings.
is.
Oh my God! With all
Which
those
I don't
numbers,
think it's ever happened in District
That
3
would
in
be
any,
so
my
in
gosh.
any sport.
I still don't understand any of those formulas. I see a lot of zeros and.
It's
the
amazing that
periods
that everybody is on board with keeping up with it, right?
Yeah,
And,
big
all
time.
these teams. Yeah, it's sort of an amazing thing. It might be worth a story in its own right someday.
You could be
But
right.
Anyway, so Jeffrey,
Yes.
who are the favorites?
Okay.
Do you think to win the whole thing? Break it down a little bit.
Well, it should be very interesting. The juicy bracket will be the upper bracket. If it goes chalk, that semi would be Lebanon against Columbia, and that'd be a rematch of last year's championship game, which Columbia won. Lebanon was 24-0 going into that game, and Columbia beat them. Lebanon, once again, here they are. They've won 17, 16 in a row.
Yeah.
They have one more game Thursday against Milton Hershey, kind of tune up for the playoffs, and then they play Northern Lebanon on Saturday. They already played them this year, beat them in the championship game of Lebanon's holiday tournament. That upper bracket's going to be great because Columbia's playing awesome. They've won 9 in a row. They've found it. It looks like they'll probably, knock on glass, play Mannheim Central on Saturday, which could be a good game because the Barons can defend. Bottom bracket, Catholic's going to be there. They're playing great. Did lose last week at Springford. Their 2 losses are Springford and Cardinal O'Hara. That's it. They've won all the rest. Catholic seems poised here. I mean, they're having a great season. They got the point guard in Bolesky. Kraft can score. Lehman can crash. Stella Higgins can play defense with the best of them. Catholic's got a ton of weapons. But they got to get past Township first, and Township's tricky.
Yeah, that's not automatic.
Yeah.
Catholic depends very much on disrupting you.
Correct.
Lebanon has the antidote to disruption in
Correct.
the
Correa.
great point guard and an emerging star at the other guard spot.
Olive Brandt, sophomore, man, I don't even want to say she's flying under the radar anymore. She had 27 on Tuesday night in their clincher at Hempfield. She's really good. She's like a mini Correa. Can shoot it from deep, can slither and get to the glass. She shoots a ton of free throws. She's really good.
And last year, Lebanon beat Catholic in the league playoffs
semifinals.
and then lost to Columbia.
Yeah.
This year, the brackets are set up
Different.
differently.
Yep.
So they would meet in the final
Yep.
if, I mean, certainly we're not downplaying
If it
Columbia.
goes, certainly. And I'm just saying, if it goes kind of chalkish, you know, I'd love to see Lebanon play Catholic. I think that'd be great. I'd love to see Columbia play Catholic again. I think that would be great, but you can't count anybody out here. Township's had a great season. Here's a fun stat. Ava Byrne, you know her from soccer. 7 straight games, she has 20 points or more.
Oh, okay.
And like 9 out of the last 12, she scored 20 plus. She had 32 in a game last week.
And they really defend.
They
Devon
do.
Pinkert is a really good young coach.
Yep.
And they are kind of a pretty strong, maybe if they're the 4th in this party of top teams, they're a pretty strong.
Yeah.
Jason, we can't even go as far as we went over here with you because again we don't know who's going to be in what half of the bracket. But anyway, break it down a little bit. Let's assume that Cedar Crest is maybe a slight favorite. I'm not sure they are, the way Warwick is playing right now.
Yeah.
But just what it's going to take to beat Cedar Crest as opposed to maybe what it's going to take to beat Warwick. Let's look at it that way.
I think there's 3 teams. I think there's Warwick, which has won 11 in a row,
Yeah.
undefeated in Section 2, shoots a lot of three-pointers. They can bury you with threes. They made 14 against Mannheim Central and just blew them out. Plays great defense. Of their 11 consecutive wins, held teams under 50 in 9 of them. They held effort at a 30 last night.
Wow.
Great defensive team. LS, Lampeter Strasbourg, won 9 out of 10, including a 25-point win over Cedar Crest.
Love that.
Really rolling. They have Chase Smucker, who's a 18-point per game scorer, made nearly 50 threes and has attempted 118 free throws. So you're talking about a guy who bombs away from 3 and gets to the rim. Great scorer at all 3 levels. They have Justin Glick inside, outside. He shoots some threes. And Dean Herr, who he makes clutch shots. I mean, every time I see him, it seems like he makes a big three-pointer down the stretch. Those 2 will likely be in the bottom half of the draw. LS's problem or issue is it's going to have to play the Section 1 runner-up in the first round, which means it'll have to play either Hempfield or Penn Manor. LS has already beaten Hempfield in Hempfield's season opener. And then if LS gets through that, it would have to play Warwick presumably in the semifinals or potentially in the semifinals.
So they kind of get a rough road.
They get the roughest road. They would have to potentially beat all 3 of the best teams to get the championship. Cedar Crest is in the top half of the draw, and it's kind of easy to forget about them because they clinched early. They had a few hiccups. They've had some lopsided losses. They've had some games where they just haven't shown up. But they're 9-1 in the best section in the league. They're the biggest team in the league. They're deep, and they share the ball really well. And I think there's a difference between the playoffs and going to Doe Run Elementary for a Saturday non-league game or going to Lampeter for a non-league game on Wednesday. You concentrate more, you focus better, you play harder. At their best, I think Cedar Crest is probably the best team. But we've learned this year, like, don't assume wins. I mean, you look at the schedule every night, and someone beats really someone that you
really, and also margins of victory, just insane. Wow. That's really been a theme of this year.
Interesting.
Yeah. All right, gang. Well, that's it. Well, I guess what we're telling you is just go watch the games and find out what happened. We don't know. Seriously, we'll see.
Should be great. Both brackets are going to be great.
It should be a lot of fun.
Quick milestone moment.
Yeah.
Let's mention this. We've got some video, Tyler. Bree Draghi, Columbia senior, got 2,000 last week. Joined her mother in the 2,000 point club. That's amazing. Got it on a layup, fast break against Linden Hall. So she's 2,000 plus. Needs about 500 to catch her mom. I don't think that's going to happen.
Petition the PIAA for an extra year of eligibility.
Yeah, they would have to. She'd have to average like 40 points a game or something crazy and go to the state final. So, but still, anybody in the 2,000 point club, 9th kid in league history to get 2,000. So,
anything for the good of the order, Jason?
Ben Troyer's coming up on 1,000. He should get it either against Chambersburg Wednesday or in that makeup resumption against Hempfield.
Nice.
And unfortunately, either Ben Troyer or Ethan Benny, probably the 2 best players in the league, one of them will not be in the league playoffs.
Yeah, that's right.
Bummer.
That's right. Okay, gang, that's it. Playoffs are coming. You are, well, this has been, let's put it that way, this has been the LL Basketball Roundtable brought to you by Student Transportation of America. For Jason, for Jeff, I'm Mike. See you later.